Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. My name is Kat, known as phamerina.planning here on YouTube and on Instagram, and today's video is a plan with me for the week of August 18th through August 24th using a second sunset kit. But this one is called Summer Sunsets with an S, from Starlight Paper Studio. It's different from last week's sunset kit because this one leans much more into the deeper, moodier colors that are much closer to like nighttime. Thus why I put it after Dash of Suns Summer Sunset. Um, you know me, top two shops for me personally are definitely Starlight Paper and Dash of Sun because they have two very distinct styles. And it was very interesting for me to juxtapose their take on summer sunsets, um, because they've both took it in very different directions. Starlight Paper definitely leaned a little bit more into kind of this retro wave vibe, a color palette, and I chose a color palette that um, would be complemented by hollow foil because I always have to have one hollow foil for every month in summer. Um, while Dash of Sun went with a color palette that I super duper love, which is orange and purple. But with the time of day, that feels a little bit like earlier in the evening compared to the one from Starlight Paper. So that's my, continuation of my, my story through the night here. Um, so yeah, if it isn't obvious, the kit is foiled in hollow. If you can hear the Legos, don't worry about it. I'm doing voiceovers in new locations. I'm trying to just not regiment myself to one area to do voiceovers. I personally like to do voiceovers where nobody can hear me because even though my family does know that I do this, I still get self-conscious about the fact that they can possibly hear me talking to a camera. No, not even a camera, it's just a microphone here. Um, but if you hear that, such is life. But I wanted to when I hold on, let me back up here. Brain. I've had a very full day. A full weekend actually. So, this kit, I intentionally did not pick up any bottom washi, minus whatever is on the foil sampler, but I don't really want to use that. It has, bottom washi. Um, so I drew inspiration from planner friends, um, who kind of who break the boundaries of what we typically see in a sticker kit format. Mostly from Meg from Magnificent Plans. She does beautiful spreads um, that leave a whole lot of kind of white space and breathing room. And she doesn't always use a bottom washi. She doesn't always use date covers. She also doesn't like for me, I always feel the need to have a box in every or a box or some sort of large decorative piece in every column. Um, and then bottom washi area, date covers. They look and feel a certain way for me. And Meg has a very distinct style, where she doesn't really stick to those conventions. Um, I would say her style is kind of defined by large focal points with a lot of breathing room, which compared to my style, which is, I would say for me, is a lot of um, layering and creating intricate, I don't know if intricate, but very textured and layered components. Right, I usually have, either alcohol inks or some sort of transparent matte um, element in the background, and then I usually layered some premium mats on top of it, whether it's like a scene or a deco element, and then sometimes it's framed by a framing element, so like a Polaroid box or box liners, or encapsulated by florals, and then on top of that usually sits um, foil elements, unless foil is part of the underlying element. um I hope, like, hopefully, like, I mean, that's how, like, I usually kind of work through a lot of my spreads. um so I really wanted to try something different, because this is one of the, I don't want to say this is not the first time, for sure not the first time I've used this kind of deco kit format. But this time I really wanted to lean into it rather than fall back on conventions that I typically use. So I wouldn't say struggled, but I really had to spend a lot of time um figuring out the bottom washy area, because this is very similar to a Miss and Meow spread I did in 2024, where I created the scene at the bottom, but I kind of got stuck or in my head about um, full box usage, because I still love my full boxes, of course. I'm I'm all about, like, I don't know, I like how they take up a conventional amount of space, right? I know when I lay a full box down, this is how much space it's going to take up. Like the large scenes or the decorative elements, compositions, whatever. They don't always take up the same amount of space. I mean, I feel like like shops kind of have a standard like format that they kind of work in. So like if I work with a Dash of Sun kit, I know her compositions are usually this size. If I work with Paper Trail Plans kit, their compositions are, but I feel like it's still different every single time you use a different shop, versus the old standard weekly kits where, everything was kind of the same size. You might have different deco sizes, but you can always rely on a full box being that size. Um and you can always rely on your bottom washi taking up a specific amount of space, right? Well, that's why these kits or this layout is format, not the layout, the planner paper. Oh my goodness. The standard vertical sheet insert. There we go. I was like, what's the word I'm looking for? Um, the bottom washi is designed, or that washi area is designed to accommodate a majority of shops. Bottom washi. So I spent a lot of brain power, a lot of time. I believe this base laydown is pretty long compared to other ones. Um, but I really challenged myself to kind of break these lines, these kind of sections I put myself in, right? Like I I do want my spreads to flow, right? There's a specific flow I try to achieve, but at the same time, I don't know if it comes across on camera or if it comes across like in the pictures and whatnot. There is a very kind of specific sections that I kind of do. Um, so I really like did not I did not stick to these sections at all, right? I let that bottom washi flow up into the column. I was like, you know what, it's okay if it doesn't even cover the entire column, like cover the entire bottom washi area. So it was a bit it was a bit of a challenge, right? It really pushed me to uh design, I don't know if design's the word I want to use, or at least create this spread in a very different way than I normally would. Um I know, I remembered very distinctly. I was like, "Oh, I could do this." Like, if I'm working in, like, the bottom washy area, I would think, "Oh, like, I could do this for, the date cover area, or um I could do, this in my bridge," and I'm, like, just like, my brain was kinda, like, working in very different sections, so I was just like, "Oh my goodness." Like, it was a very different experience, I guess that's what I'll say, um, and it's an experience. I wouldn't say it was, how do I wanna say? It's something I'd like to explore more. Of course, I'm gonna retreat back to my comfort zone of, um, making my spreads the way I typically make them. But it's a fun challenge when I'm feeling particularly inspired, right? I was very inspired by this color palette. I was very inspired by the hollow, obviously. Um, so that's for me to say. Like, I'm hold on. My brain's a little distracted by the Legos that I can hear going on. It's not his fault. Again, I'm trying to, like, prepare myself when there's chaos of having two sets of feet run around this house, which is, it's gonna be it's part baby brain, part So I'm sorry if this is chaotic. I feel like I've been saying that a lot. So, like, I guess this is the normal state of things. I do want to point out that, like, I really like what I did with these, like, set of boxes in the date cover, not in the date cover area, but pulling that up into the date cover area. It kind of really changes for me how this whole spread looks and its balance and how it feels. Um, it was a very like I said, like I've been saying this whole time about the composition of this spread. It's very um different. In some it feels like it breaks a lot of conventions for me. It feels very I don't want to say uh messy, because that's not the right word. But it feels very, I don't want to say organic, because that's not the right word either. It feels very let me Google a synonym for chaotic, because it's not that, because chaotic kind of has, like, this negative connotation to it, and that's not what I'm trying to pull across either. Um let's see. Let's see. Good. In a good way. Um Dynamic might be a good word. Um it feels very, I think dynamic is kind of the word, or vibrant, lively, bustling, energetic, electrifying, spontaneous. I feel like that might be the word I'm looking for. Spontaneous, adventurous. I feel like this spread very much feels like how it came about, which was kind of, you know, looking at the sticker, looking at the space first, looking at the stickers, and seeing, what could I put here, and kind of ignoring um what I typically do, right? Not necessarily ignoring, but kind of saying, okay, I see that's what I would normally do here, but let's try something different, right? Let's keep that in the back of our minds, but let's push a little further. I know this all sounds very serious for what's basically like laying down stickers, but for me, this is a very cathartic experience. I'm sure a lot of us feel the same way. So I know I'm preaching to the choir here. Um, but it's very exciting in a way to really do something, to see what I would normally do, right? And be like, okay, we're gonna pocket that. We're gonna try something else. Um, but of course, since I did that for, like, basically the frame of the spread for my center bridge, I kept it simple, because I was like, there's a lot going on. So for my center bridge, I kind of just stuck to like what I would normally do, which is usually pair a full box with a piece of deco, and layer some alcohol inks behind it. And then for 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 this spread, I know I kind of relied a lot on the florals to provide backdrops, which I don't normally do either, right? I believe we're rounding out the base. If you notice that August script looks a little wonky, um, that's because the last hollow spread I did, which was Starlight Papers Coast, I I put August on that date cover section, but it wasn't August. It was um, July. Nobody pointed that out to me until I was sitting down. I was flipping through the stickers. I know we're at the day by day, but I'm always late. And I was like, wait a minute, that's for this spread's July, and I put an August script down, and nobody told me. So that's why that August script a little wonky. I was like, Hollow's it's not that it's expensive for compared to other foils, and I was like, I if I could salvage this, I'm going to reuse it. So onto the day by day, which we're here now. We're here now. Excuse me, I'm recovering from some sort of illness that went through our house. We started with a coffee Monday. Um, I was just in my feelings that day. I'm trying to see if there was. It probably has to do with the summer storm situation. Um, yeah, probably. I don't have any context in my notes about it. But I was apparently in my feelings that day, and then I finished the night with some planning time. On Tuesday, we had pork katsu for dinner. Must have been an uneventful day. I don't really remember this week very well, to be very honest. Um, we had pork katsu for dinner. I must have had some homemade boba. No, maybe my husband picked. Oh, yes, my husband picked up some boba. Our kung fu tea is closed on Mondays, which was weird. So when I'm like, I kind of want some boba tea, I usually say it on like a Sunday, and he's like, I'll put it in my my calendar. And then he's like, oh wait, they're closed, so I'll get it for you tomorrow. And then I folded some laundry. Um, I do have quite a bit of hollow foil from Starlight Paper. I do remember that I pulled in a couple of foiled samplers. One is definitely the one for this kit, Summer Sunset, which actually did not use a lot of the Summer Sunset. I mean, I use a substantial amount, I guess, but I think because of how what's the word, spontaneous this spread was, I didn't want to pull in too much hollow foil. I wanted to really uh, kind of accent it in the day by day rather than like throw it everywhere. As much as I love my hollow foil, I do recognize my limitations of it. I know I also pulled in um, the clouds that I got from her, and which the coast one. Um, I'm just saying, if you love hollow foil, or if you want just some hollow foil basics, I feel like not basics. If you feel some hollow foil pieces that will go a lot with a lot of other spreads, um, brain. Starlit Paper is like where you should go because she really excels in hollow foil. She's one of my hollow foil kits. I know I can rely on her to give me a hollow foil kit. I'm sorry, I got distracted because I saw the little waves and I was like, wait, that wasn't part of the sampler. Um, yeah, see, distraction. On Wednesday was a rainy day. Um, we had sausage and peppers for dinner, and I was super exhausted. I'm assuming it's probably because the pregnancy was starting to really. How many weeks was I? This. Oh, I didn't mark it down here. How many weeks was I? Second positive test. Usually get to second positive test around 6 weeks, so I would have been around 7 weeks at this point. I think I have it in my other book. Um, So I probably that's where the exhaustion was kicking in, which was probably like one of the signs that I was like, yeah, this is definitely a pregnancy that's gonna go all the way through. On Thursday, I hit so much traffic, probably both to and from work because I didn't mark one or the other. And then we had a rough bedtime. Um, on Friday, we had a Dr. Coffee run. Um, I think I've talked about how there's a Panera that opened up near work, which is a bit of a problem. Not that I like super love Panera, but I enjoy Panera. Um, the thing is that this probably was the first instance in which I got the French onion soup, and I didn't get any croutons, which is like one of the integral pieces of French onion soup. Um, so I complained. Like I really hate complaining, but like if it's a part of the item, like all I basically got was some onion soup with a little bit of cheese thrown in, which is what you know, it wasn't what I paid for. Like, and it's like I don't really want to go back and bother the workers for some croutons, especially it's not that far of a walk, but I'm like, I don't want to walk all the way back up the get all the way back upstairs and then um go walk across. It was just a hassle. And I'm like, it's not the biggest deal. Um, but like you can email headquarters, get your money. Um, so there's that. I don't, I really hate it, but like, if I paid for something, I'd like to get what I actually paid for, I guess is how I want to say that. And then I finished Friday night with some planning time. Um, on the 23rd, Saturday, my husband made a chopped bagel sandwich, which is basically you take the cream cheese and then you chop up like the extra ingredients that you're going to put in it. So this one had um, pickles, bacon. I feel like there was one other component. I can't really remember it at this time, but I know like I was very intrigued. Maybe it was fennel, a scallion. I forget. Um, and it was good. I thought I was gonna like the pickles because I was pregnant, but I didn't like the pickles as much as I thought I would. So I was like, next time if you want to just do a special cream cheese, just throw some scallions and even put some bacon. That's fine. Um, so he did that for me, which was very sweet because I said, I was like, this looks kind of good, and he was like, I'll make it for you, and I was like, oh, thanks, babe. Um, and then we went to our local ice cream place, and then my husband, so Bub loves the construction site books, and he has a voice for my husband has a voice for every character. And the popular one is Dump Truck. And so Dump Truck has a New York accent, I believe. Dump Truck. I'm bad at accents. I'm not even gonna try. But he just bought Fox and Socks, and so he read the entirety of Fox and Socks in Dump Truck's voice, which was hilarious for me. I don't know if Bub thought it was funny, but I thought it was funny, so I marked it down in my planner. On the 24th, the 24th is happy birthday to my husband and to Chelsea, the owner of Dash of Sun. Found out last year they both have the same birthday. Um, but of course, I'm gonna mark it in my planner specifically for my husband, but it is also Chelsea from Dasha's son's birthday that day too, and we went to go buy his gift, which was an electric guitar. He's been wanting to pick up the electric guitar for a while, so I was like, let Bub and I buy it for your birthday, and then I finished the night with some planning time. So that's the spread. I'm kind of sad I didn't get to use those extra freebies because I really love the scenes in there, but these scenes were all kind of like outside, and I didn't want to pull the outside inside, the inside out. You know what I mean? Um, but yeah, that's the spread. I love how it came out. It's really fun. And I love it. And that's the video. I'm gonna get off before I keep rambling. If you enjoyed it, I would love it if you gave the video a little like. I'd leave any of your thoughts down below, and I'd be so happy if you subscribe to my little channel. And I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.